Alright guys, so today we're going to check out the Urban Pods Pro. Now this is a pair of truly wireless earbuds that obviously looks close to the AirPods Pro, and on their site they normally sell for $120, but right now you can pick these up for $60. Now they are available in the original white, but they also come in a matte black. Now we checked out the original Urban Pods a little while back, and that was a pair that resembled the original AirPods, but you could pick them up for $40. And I was really surprised with the sound and the features that you got for the price. So I definitely wanted to check out the Urban Pods Pro because these you can pick up for $60 and they're supposed to be comparable to the AirPods Pro, which retails for $250. But let's go ahead and check out some of the features and what it is you get inside the box. Now the first thing I want to point out is these do have the H1 chip, which makes it really easy to connect if you already have an Apple device. In fact, if you have an iPhone or an iPad, as soon as you open the lid on the case to these, you will see the pop-up display, which means you can just connect right away and you don't actually have to go through the settings. But if you use these with an Android device, which is what I mainly use them with, you have to go into the settings and just pair them like you would any other wireless earbud. The connection on these were surprisingly solid because one thing with AirPod clones is a lot of them don't have the best connection, they're not very stable, and I didn't have any issues with these at all. In fact, with watching videos and movies, I also didn't experience any lag. So I was really surprised that it was able to do this very well considering the price. Now these do have Bluetooth 5.0, and as far as the IP rating, I didn't see anything where there's an official IP rating. Now I'm sure they're fine if you're somebody that sweats heavily or if they get lightly splashed, but I definitely would not submerge these into water. Now as far as what you're getting inside the box, you are getting the usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips, and then as far as the charging cable, they've included a lightning cable. So if you are somebody that has an iPhone, you probably already have tons of lightning cables lying around. Just know that you can use that to charge these. But on top of that, the case to these is also a Qi wireless charging case, which I found to be very convenient because I like to just come in and sit the case on a wireless charger and have them start charging. Now they did also send out the Urban Pad, which is a wireless charger that this company also offers, and you can pick that up for $20 on their site. And I was actually surprised at the quality, and it's a decent looking wireless charger. Now as far as the battery life goes, that's one thing that these are not the best at, because on the earbuds by themselves you're going to get around 3 hours, and where I didn't see anything that said the battery life of the case, I noticed that I only got about 4 charges total. So do know that battery life you're going to get around 15 hours before needing to charge the case. Now moving over to looking at the case, again, it's hard to not notice that this is a clone of the AirPods Pro case where you have your pairing button on the back and then you have your lightning input on the bottom. Now I will say that the lid on these is a little bit looser in comparison to the AirPods Pro case, but it still has that satisfying click sound when you close the lid. Now moving over to checking out the earbuds themselves, I think they did a very good job of mimicking the AirPods Pro. I've seen some other clones where they actually use stickers or decals to simulate that they have the microphones and the vents that the original AirPods Pro have, but these actually have the physical vents as well, so you can actually feel it. It's just not a smooth surface, and all of this works pretty well on here. It still uses touch control. It doesn't use the squeeze control so much like the AirPods Pro do, but you still kind of have to grab them a little bit and lightly tap to be able to use the controls. And the controls work great on these, except the fact that they don't have volume control. Now, that's the same as the AirPods Pro since they don't have volume control either, so it is mimicking that, but it is still frustrating that these don't have volume control. Now another thing that you can do is switch between normal mode, which I guess is your noise canceling mode, which I'm going to go ahead and say the noise canceling is not very strong on here. I think it leans more towards being passive noise canceling, which essentially is just relying on you having a good seal and not so much active noise canceling, because I can't notice that it's doing a whole lot to block out my surroundings. But these do have an ambient mode, which does an excellent job of bringing in some of your surroundings, which means you can carry on a conversation with somebody and not actually have to pull these out of your ear. Now, if you're somebody that uses your earbuds individually, you'll be happy to know that you can use either the left or the right. And then as far as the microphones on here, I think they did a pretty decent job here. I felt like it picked up my vocals pretty well. It felt like it blocked out my outside surroundings okay. It's not going to be anything that's going to compare to the AirPods Pro, but I think most people on the other line won't have any complaints. But you guys could be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a mic test using the Urban Pods Pro. Again, I think it does a really good job of picking up my voice, and this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played in the background, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call public. So now let's check out the sound. The sound is what completely sold me on these, because I was expecting something that's going to be better than the original AirPods, because I'm just not a huge fan of those. But I was hoping to have something that was just somewhat close to the AirPods Pro, and what I got was something that's very close to the AirPods Pro. Because these are using the ear tips to give you a very good seal, there is plenty of bass impact. In fact, it felt pretty tight, pretty accurate, and it had a lot of punch. It wasn't bass that felt overwhelming. It didn't feel like it just rolled over your mids and your highs, because the mids had really nice presence. I felt like male and female vocals came through extremely well, and there was just a lot of detail when it came to these earbuds. Now, when it comes to the treble on these, even though I felt that they were very clean and detailed, there were just certain times, depending on what songs that I was listening to, that I would have liked to have seen a slight bump. Now, this just might be nitpicking, especially considering I'm comparing these to a pair that's $250, but again, just at times you wanted a little bit more boost. Now, as far as the soundstage and the sound imaging, surprisingly, these felt fairly open. And that's because it felt like there was a good amount of air in the sound. It felt like even though there was a lot of bass impact, it still had a little bit of distance to it. So it didn't feel like you were closed in when you were listening to these. And then picking apart where details were coming from, these had no issues with that. Now, as far as my cons with these, I do have a couple of complaints. One are the controls. I felt at times I had to try multiple times to get it to do what I wanted it to, where I thought I was skipping the track forward. I actually just paused the song. So that got a little frustrating at times. And then another complaint is I wish that the battery life was just slightly better. I even think just having 4 hours puts it more in a normal range with other earbuds, because I feel like 3 hours is definitely on the lower end. So I think the Urban Pods Pro coming in at $60 is a really good value. Now, I think if you're looking at these at the original $120, I wouldn't be able to recommend them at that price, but for $60 to be able to get sound that is comparable to the AirPods Pro at $250 and still getting the H1 chip to have that connection with Apple devices, and for those who care to have a pair that looks like the AirPods Pro, even though I think the matte black version is the way to go on these, I think the $60 price tag is more than a good value. But guys, that's my video on the Urban Pods Pro. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.